Welcome to today's teaching topic. We are going to be diving into food tracking and how to make food tracking more enjoyable from both a mindset perspective and some actual logistical things that you can do on the court to make it more enjoyable. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Heather McConaughey. I'm a registered nurse turned nutritionist, and I specialize in helping women lose 10 to 30 pounds using macro counting without hunger, without forbidden foods, and without suffering. So food tracking is one of the tools that we use in my program. You may have tried food tracking already in your journey to lose weight and eat healthier, and there's pros and cons to it. Just like any nutritional protocol, philosophy, approach, there's always going to be pros and cons to it. If you think about paleo diet, there's pros to it. Your digestion tends to feel really good. You might have a lot of vitality and energy and feel good. But one of the cons is you might feel deprived. You might feel like you're missing out on a lot of the yummy foods in life, like pizza and croissants and, lattes and things that are forbidden in that program. So when we're thinking about any nutritional approach or philosophy, we just always have to understand there are pros and cons to every approach, and we need to weigh those pros and cons and decide what is the best approach for me to achieve the goals that I have. Now, I use macro counting as one of the core strategies in my program. Why? One, it completely transformed my body, but it didn't just transform my physique when I was stuck, when I was gaining fat despite working out, when I was frustrated, when I was confused, when I was losing muscle despite lifting heavy weights. It transformed all of those physical things for me, but it also taught me deep nutrition knowledge. And that's one of the things that a lot of people miss when it comes to understanding the value of food tracking. So anytime in life we are trying to achieve a result, typically we have to engage in behaviors that are not inherently pleasurable in order to get that result. And this is where we have difficulty or resistance with motivation. It's very easy to be motivated when you have pleasurable activities in front of you. Am I right? When something inherently gives you pleasure. So it's very easy to feel motivated to put on your coffee maker in the morning and brew that cup of coffee because there's pleasure waiting at the end of it, right? It's very easy to get motivated to cook a yummy breakfast because inherently there's pleasure at the end of it. It's very easy to get motivated to go through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru because there's pleasure at the end of that experience, right? I love a diet lemonade, chocolate chip cookie. Ooh, pleasurable. It's very easy to get motivated when there are things that are inherently pleasurable awaiting us. The challenge becomes, how do we motivate ourselves to do things that are not inherently pleasurable, that are going to give us access to the results that we do want in life? That maybe don't give us quick hits of pleasure, but they give us deep fulfillment. They give us deep satisfaction. Waking up and feeling good in your body is, in a sense, inherently pleasurable. Waking up and feeling confident in your clothes, feeling lean in your stomach, feeling good in your digestion, all of those things do offer inherent pleasure. But there's also a more steady, constant, deep fulfillment that comes from that result versus the quick hit of the food or the quick hit of the alcohol or the caffeine, right? So this is a challenging thing for us to navigate as humans. It's not an easy thing mindset-wise. If it was easy, you would have already done it. And if it was easy, no other humans would also struggle with this. First of all, when we're approaching new habits that help us reach our goals, we tend to only focus on the negative parts of those habits. For example, if you are committed to losing weight, you're going to need to move your body more. You're going to need to walk more, and you're going to need to add in some weightlifting or some HIIT. You got to get moving somehow. And that's not just to burn calories, that's to improve your mood, improve the way that your body's responsive to insulin. It's going to improve your digestion, your heart health, all of those things. So we tend to just focus on the negatives initially. I don't want to work out. I get sweaty and gross. Or, it's uncomfortable to work out. We tend to just focus on the negatives. That's an hour out of my day. I already feel stressed and busy. So when we are trying to do harder habits, we need to not just focus on the negatives, we need to really focus on the benefits. There's a cost and a gain, a pro and a con, a black and a white, a yin and a yang, dark and a light to every aspect of life. And so you really need to start to look at the benefits, get connected to the benefits of that new habit or behavior. So yes, exercising creates discomfort. I did leg day this morning and it was uncomfortable. I was breathing heavier, my heart was beating faster, my legs were burning. I felt discomfort. But how I feel after is accomplished, proud, serene, relaxed, strong, empowered. And I will continue to feel those emotions throughout my day. So for 30 minutes of discomfort, I reap 24 hours of feeling good. And I reap positive sleep, right? I reap 12 more hours of being awake and feeling good, and then 8 hours of great sleep and waking up feeling good even tomorrow morning. So it's the same when we're confronting a habit regarding our food. Yes, is chopping your vegetables inherently pleasurable? Not necessarily, although I actually really like to chop things with a knife. It's a great way to get out aggression. Pro tip. But it's not necessarily inherently pleasurable. But you know what is pleasurable is now going to my fridge every day this week and having my vegetables already prepped, already cut, and I can throw my salads and my healthy Brussels sprout bowls together so fast and so easily because I committed to doing that uncomfortable thing earlier in the week. So if you fail to pay attention to the positive benefits of a habit, you can prematurely dismiss this habit as being beneficial in your life, despite its obvious benefits to improve and enhance your life. Food tracking is one of those things. Sometimes women just instantly dismiss it as a tool. Oh, I don't want to track my food. Oh, I don't want to count calories. Oh, I don't want to count macros. And while there are different approaches, if you're stuck in your body and you want to have freedom eating a variety of foods, if you don't want to just be stuck in a Whole30 regimen or a paleo regimen or a keto regimen, then you do have to confront the quantity that you're eating. And food tracking provides that structure. It provides that framework for you to live inside of so you are managing the correct amount of food to eat for your body, your goals, and your athletic endeavors. One of the reasons a lot of you fail with your nutrition is because you have zero structure and zero frameworks guiding you. You're just like all over the place. You're like trying this diet one week and then you're doing this thing. You're like, I'm going to fast for 2 days. And then you're over here trying to do paleo and like over here cutting carbs and maybe I'll cut sugar. And you're just all over the place. You have no structure, no framework. You don't really understand what you need to do quantity-wise to achieve the results you want weight loss with your body. And so then you'll do extreme things. Like you'll just stop eating food, right? You'll just starve yourself out at 1,000 calories a day. And then that won't work. And then you'll binge on the weekends. So food tracking has a lot of benefits. We're going to go through some of the benefits, and then I'm also going to teach you some of my tips and tricks to make it fun. Because when an activity is not inherently pleasurable, we need to, or if we pair it with activities that are inherently pleasurable, it makes it much easier to stick with it. For example, when I go for my morning walks, a morning walk is pretty pleasurable. I'm not going to lie, right? The sun is shining on my face. I live by a beautiful lake. But perhaps you don't have beautiful scenery to walk in. There have been many times in my life where I've done walks in areas that were not as pretty as where I live now, and I still did it. And some of the ways that I made that more pleasurable was I listened to music that I love, or I walk with a friend, right? Or I listen to an audiobook, or I call my boyfriend. And so by pairing an activity that's less pleasurable with an activity that's more pleasurable, you increase the likelihood and motivation of doing that less inherently pleasurable activity. My clients tell me that they love food tracking because, number one, it works. People want results. One of my clients last night, she just hit 40 pounds lost in 8 months, which is a really incredible progress that she's made. It's slow, it's steady, it's consistent. It's about 5 pounds a month, which may not sound like super exciting and sexy. You might be like, well, I want to lose 5 pounds in a week, or I want to lose 20 pounds in a month. But you know what? The person who's going slow in life and being consistent is much more likely to not only achieve the results, but maintain them. A lot of you want to maintain your results. You don't want to just get the result, you want to sustain it. So food tracking works. Number 2, it is sustainable. You can track your food ongoingly for a long period of time with different tips and tricks. Like any habit, it requires an investment of time and energy, but it is a sustainable habit. It really doesn't take that long to track your food. And if you pre-log it and plan ahead and save meals and recipes, it becomes even faster. Number 3, my clients love food tracking because it organizes them. So a lot of you are struggling with being on point with your eating and your nutrition because you're just not organized. You haven't planned for it. You got to plan for the things that you want to achieve in life. You got to sit down and plan what you're going to eat for the week. You got to look through your cupboards and your fridge and your freezer. Do I have these things? You got to go buy the things or order the groceries and have them delivered. You got to prep the veggies. You got to sit down and cook. You got to eat, right? Like, it's almost like people don't want to like confront that like their body actually is designed to eat and you got to eat every few hours. We haven't invented the food pill yet, where you can just take one pill and actually get all the nourishment you need. And my clients love food tracking because of the accountability. It keeps them accountable. One of the evidence-based protocols for weight loss is keeping a food diary. So while food tracking is a more advanced type of food diary, you track more data and numbers, it's consistent with the research that supports logging your food, having a journal where you write things down, what you're eating, creates mindfulness and awareness, and that shifts your behavior and makes it more likely that you'll lose weight and maintain it. My clients have also described tracking like a fun puzzle or a game. I've had clients call it like Tetris. I really think about it like you're fitting pieces of a puzzle together to create something, right? That's what food tracking is. So when you are focused on hitting certain macros, a certain amount of protein, carbs, or fats during your day, what you're really doing is fitting a puzzle together. And I don't know about you, but I love puzzles. I've got a jigsaw puzzle over on my table right now, and it is hard. I worked on it last night for an hour, and I got 3 pieces of the puzzle in an hour, y'all. But you know what that taught me? It's teaching me grit. It's teaching me perseverance. I had a moment a few days ago where I was like, do I even want to do this puzzle? I was like about ready to pack up the puzzle, break it into pieces, throw it back in the box, and be like, maybe I'll try that again in the future. And then I thought to myself, no, I am not a quitter. Just because something is hard does not mean I'm going to quit at it. It means that I need to have a better strategy. The strategy that I used for the easier puzzle is no longer working. This is a more advanced puzzle. I need a different strategy. I need to be creative. And so I sat down and I started brainstorming different ways to create more effectiveness at my puzzle solving skills. And now I'm back at it and more excited to work on my puzzle than ever. So I invite you to think about food tracking as a puzzle. It's an opportunity to piece things together, learn more about food, learn how to balance the intake of what you're eating. How much protein are you eating? How many carbs? How many fats? Let's find your perfect formula. Let's find your unique macronutrient formula and put that together so you can lose weight without forbidding foods. You can eat foods you enjoy, but you can also get results. And look, here's the thing. If you don't like food tracking because you don't like being on your phone, how many hours or minutes do you spend on Instagram a day? My guess is you spend a lot, or on TikTok, or on the weather app, or on the news app, or just scrolling your email, etc. We spend a lot of times on our phone. So that's just an excuse. What's really going on for us when we don't want to do a habit is we're experiencing lack of motivation because we don't find it inherently pleasurable. We need to find a way to make things that are not inherently pleasurable more pleasurable. You need to become a woman who has a little more self-control and a little more self-discipline and a little more willingness to work hard. Laziness does contribute to us not prepping food, not cooking for ourselves. Laziness does contribute to not wanting to move our body. We all struggle with laziness, myself included. But it's important that you become a woman who enjoys the process required to get results. You got to stop being so focused on getting the carrot all the time. Like, I just want to get the result. I just want to lose the weight. I just want to get that thing. Because if you think that you're going to feel fulfilled and satisfied in life when you achieve this thing, you're wrong. I'm just going to tell you. I was the skinniest I'd ever been, and I was the most unhappy. All right? I've gained 5 pounds, and I'm happier than I've ever been. Weight is not going to equal happiness for you. Weight loss is not going to equal happiness for you. Now, does it provide access to certain things that are going to improve your life potentially? For sure. But you got to get away from being so fixated on just getting the result, and you got to fall in love with the process. The process of nourishing your body, the process of learning about food, the process of prepping food, the process of cooking healthier things at home, walking, moving your body. You got to fall in love with the process. So you need to become a woman who can reframe anything. If you want to become someone who can make activities more pleasurable that aren't necessarily pleasurable, you have to have an ability to think through it and really reframe the way you're approaching things. How can you shift anything that occurs to you as bothersome or annoying in your life? Wow, if you had that skill, what would be possible for you? I'm kind of an impatient person. I'm working on it, okay? God's working on it with me right now. And one of the things I've had to learn is my impatience is me not having a good attitude while I wait. I might be waiting years for something. I might be waiting minutes for something. I might be waiting days. It doesn't matter. Regardless, it's me having a bad attitude while I'm waiting for a result. And I've learned that I get bored, right? I don't like sitting in boredom. I don't like sitting in the waiting. And I've had to learn that there are ways to make things that feel a little annoying or bothersome more enjoyable while I'm in the wait, right? So this is a powerful skill to master for all of your life. Really the ability to shift things that occur as annoying or bothersome as beautiful times of ritual in your life. What if you could turn cleaning the toilet every week into a meditation? Or what if you could turn doing the dishes a time of spiritual connection or growth for you because you're listening to a podcast or an audiobook? You need to become a woman who chooses to find the fun and the game of life in things. So for example, if you don't like food tracking because it feels like a chore, then you have just stopped playing like a kid and you are being way too much of an adult. You've gotten a little resigned and cynical and tired and worn out as an adult, and you need to tap into your inner child and that spirit of play again and bring that joy back into your life. You need to become a woman who plans and prepares ahead of time. My clients who love food tracking, they put planning and intention behind it. They are actually committed to pre-logging and planning out their weeks. You need to become a woman who enjoys more structure and boundaries in her life. If you're resisting food tracking, I guarantee you, you're resisting structure and boundaries in all of your life. As human beings, we don't like being told what to do. We don't like the idea that there's constraints on us. We just want to be free to do whatever we want, whenever we want, with no consequences. But life doesn't work like that. That's not the way that we're designed. That's not the way the world's designed. And ultimately, that leads to deep unfulfillment in life when we just follow what we want to do all the time. Structure and boundaries protect us, and they help us get to our goals when our inner self is leading us astray. You need to become a woman who's willing to exert effort to achieve the goals that you desire. Look, if you don't want a food track because you just don't wanna, that's a sign that you got some laziness going on, that you don't want to exert effort to achieve your goals. So there's two things that are really powerful about tracking I just want to highlight, because remember, when we focus on the benefits of something, it's much more likely we'll stick with it. One, tracking gets results. If you're in a plateau, if you're stuck, if you're frustrated, if you're confused, tracking gets results. I had a client last summer who was trying to fast and do intermittent fasting, and she was gaining weight. She was so frustrated and confused. She came to me. We got her on the correct macro split. We tweaked a few things throughout her program. She slayed. She dropped 10 pounds. She felt amazing in her wedding dress, and she's maintained that. I just heard from her last week because she's preggers now and growing a little one. Tracking gets results. Tracking teaches you deep nutrition knowledge by teaching you the nutritional composition of foods. This is one of the most valuable parts of food tracking. So yes, food tracking gets you results, but the act of having to log food and look at entries and be like, okay, how many protein grams is in an egg? Oh, an egg is actually more fat than protein. Or I keep hearing this wellness blogger talk about how nut butter is such a great source of protein. But when I log it, I discovered it's 16 grams of fat and 3 grams of protein. That doesn't make sense. That conflicts with what I heard. You start to develop deep nutrition knowledge. And so instead of being like, here, look at this database of entries about food, this is how I'm going to teach you about food, I say, no, we're going to do a method. I use methods to teach you. Get on the court and do this method, and you're going to learn what you need to learn. It's like doing a puzzle. I sit down and I do a puzzle, and I learn all these life lessons that are important to learn through doing that method, through solving that puzzle. Food tracking is the same thing. It's a method that's going to teach you deep nutrition knowledge. It's not going to help you to sit down and read a textbook about what's the protein composition of a chicken breast and try to memorize and read 2,000 entries about nutrition. That's not going to be helpful. But through logging consistently, you will develop deep nutrition knowledge, and you will start to understand the nutritional composition of foods, and then you will be able to translate that knowledge into restaurant eating, estimating portions at parties, estimating food at friends' houses. You'll be able to understand more about what's in food, and that will empower you to lose weight and maintain it ongoingly in life and not get so flustered and confused when you're confronted with circumstances outside your control. So let's dive into some of my favorite tips for actually making food tracking a little bit more fun and pleasurable. Number one is pre-logging. A lot of times food tracking can feel frustrating for people because they're already busy. And if you're trying to do it in the middle of your day and you're trying to do it as you go, you will struggle. Now, if you have the time to do it that way, go for it. But most of my clients are busy, and so they find that if they pre-log ahead of time, they're more successful and they find it more fun and enjoyable. It's nice to just plan out your food for the day, know what you're going to eat, go into the next day, and just have your meals ready to go. And you can stay in your zone of genius. Like one of my clients is like a master hair cutter. So she's got busy days at the salon. She's got all her food planned out. She knows what she's going to eat. She's slaying it. She's crushing it. She's lost 40 pounds in 8 months. Another tip is to pair it with a pleasurable activity. So we talked about how you will be more motivated to do tasks that you find pleasurable. So if something's not inherently pleasurable, like I hate folding laundry, how I can make that more pleasurable is by listening to an audiobook while I fold the laundry and burning some incense, because I find those two things more pleasurable. So you could listen to music while you pre-log your food. Or my habit was I would watch shows in the evening on Netflix, and I get kind of bored just staring at a screen because I feel like I know the plot. Like the plot of movies is kind of obvious. Like pretty much all Hollywood movies follow the same formulas. So when you're my age, you're 40, you're like, I know what's coming, right? So I would just lay there on the couch and watch my shows or whatever, and I would just pre-log. And sometimes I would pre-log 3 days of food. That doesn't mean I couldn't shift something or change it around, but I had a template. I had it laid out. So then when I was a nurse and I was going to work 2 or 3 shifts in a row, my food was planned. I knew what I needed to prep. I knew what I needed to throw in my lunch bag and bring to work for my 12-hour shifts. I was tracking macros when I was a nurse. And so I was super busy and at work for 13 plus hours a day. Okay. You could also do your logging while you're drinking your coffee or your tea. Anything that you find inherently pleasurable, pair it with that. Emojis. So my clients do something really fun where you can actually change your meal names. I've had clients like name their meal names after things from Lord of the Rings, like Elevensies and like Second Breakfast. And then they'll put little fun emojis. So you can actually edit those meal names and make them fun and playful and add little emojis. Again, it's about bringing more fun and play and lightness and joy to the processes that you have to do in life and getting out of that like more adult, like sadness and dread and I've lost all joy for living attitude out of your life. And then lastly, you got to see it as a game, play the game and enjoy the game. So for example, in my program, if somebody gets a 0 on a macro, we call it a donut. So we're like, did you get it? Can you get a double donut? Can you get a triple donut one time in the program? We make it into a game. And when you make something into a game, it's much more fun to do. I used to work as a nanny for like 20 years, basically, before I became a nurse on and off. I would always like babysit or nanny kids. And I learned that all I had to do to get kids to want to do something was make it into a game, right? Like, okay, we're going to pick up the toys. Like, who can pick up the most the fastest? Or like, time to get ready for bed. I'm going to time you to see if you can get into your pajamas and into bed in less than 60 seconds. Do you think you can do it? Like, that works. And you know what? It can work for us as adults too, because we still have that inner child inside of us. If you master these skills, you are going to get much better results with your body. You're going to develop deep nutrition knowledge. You're going to develop greater self-discipline. You're going to learn how to bring fun and play to even the most tedious of tasks in life. You're going to develop more organization and serenity and peace of mind in your life. I hope these tips helped you today really understand not only how to bring more motivation and joy to food tracking, but how to really apply those skills to any area of your life. You know, my coaching program is for women who thrive on structure. It's for women who understand the value of tracking things that matter to you. That when you track something in existence over time, it's more likely that you will achieve a result with that. It's for women who enjoy hitting and achieving their goals and targets. They're goal-oriented women. They like hitting numbers. They like achieving things. And it's for women who like to nerd out on numbers and targets and goals. They get into that and they get excited about those types of things. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed today's topic. I look forward to hearing what you learned from it. Feel free to tag me on Instagram or send me a message at Heather McConaughey and let me know what you learned. And you are welcome to join the waitlist for my coaching program via the link in my Instagram bio if you are ready to lose 10 to 30 pounds without hunger, without forbidden foods, and without suffering. Thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you soon.